So going down, I want to show you how to get that cool second section in your website, and then also how to make the button on the header right here go down to that first section. So to do that, we just need to use Elementor for the first time. Let's go back to our site and let's click Edit Page at the top. And the first thing I want to do, because right now we're using the Gutenberg page editor, which is new and unfamiliar, even though I think it's going to be good in the future. I think a lot of people are still using Classic Editor, which is how WordPress used to look and what made WordPress so popular. So if you want to use that, which we definitely do now, click Plugins, Add New, and then where it says Classic Editor right here, or you might have to search for Classic Editor, just install now, and then activate it. So now when we're on our homepage and we click Edit Page, you're going to get the old editing screen, which is a lot easier to enter in like your own text. You can open up the kitchen sink and get the Microsoft Word as tools or add media for an image. You get the picture. But what we want to do, because we have Elementor under our belt and it works so well with Sydeny, is edit with Elementor. And the first step to do that is to make the template Elementor full width. Beautiful. Now just update it. So now the sidebar won't show up on our homepage. And we get that beautiful full width content like you see right here. All right, next up we are going to go to our Edit with Elementor area. Click that blue button and it'll take you to the Elementor canvas. And now right beneath our image slider, it's basically time to start creating. So you'll find the elements in the left-hand column. These are all just different elements that are available to use. Don't get too overwhelmed because we're going to play around with the most important ones and then you can kind of go off on your own. So the first element that we want to get used to is called intersection. Let's drag that one in right here into the dotted area. All right, beautiful. And you can see there's another area beneath it to add more content, but we want to focus where we just put that intersection. If you click plus, like I just did, it'll bring you back to the elements, and it's basically asking us to drag in some more, well, elements. So let's try dragging in an icon box. Boom. Then to go back to the elements, you can just click on the 9 boxes right here in the upper left. And let's drag in another icon box on the right-hand column. Cool. Now, just because the Sydeny demo comes with 3 icon boxes, let's go ahead and right-click on this black icon right here that looks like an open book. And let's duplicate. Beautiful. Now let's click back to our elements, and why don't we also add a heading above those icon boxes. All right, you can see we can get it right there in this section. And then let's also add just some text beneath the icons. So text editor down below. All right, you wanna make sure you get it in like a wide blue area so it's not inside one of those icon boxes. Takes a little practice, beautiful, and there we go. Oh, actually just kidding, we don't want a text editor, and if you don't want something, you can always right click on the pencil and delete it. What we want is just a button. So button, down you go button. Again, takes a little smidgen of practice. Beautiful. All right, so what we're gonna do now is make our heading text say our services. You can double click and then start editing right on top of it if you'd like, which I find easiest. Cool, and then you can choose how the text shows up by centering it. And you can also click style and play around with all sorts of cool features like the color, the typography, which is the font, and even some shadow. Let's go ahead and change up the icons so they look like the Sydeny demo. So the first heading will just say photography. The second one will say strategy. And the third one will say design. This is where you could highlight your own services or your own skills that your brand offers. All right, I'm also going to click underneath each individual icon and get rid of the click to edit option so it just has that pretty lorem ipsum. And when you click on a specific icon box, you can also edit it in the left-hand column if you're more comfortable using this window. Now let's change the icons by choosing the icon drop-down list, and you can just type in the icon that you might want. In this case, we want the retro camera. For strategy, we want the cube, I guess you could call it a cube. And then for design, we're gonna want a computer. Or maybe it's a laptop. In the View tab, you can choose whether this is stacked or maybe it's just framed. Nice. And let's make the other icons framed as well. Now we can easily adjust the color of that circle by going to Style, and we're going to choose a primary color. So the primary color will change both the icon and the circle. And if you want to get the color from the Sydeny buttons, which in this case I do, just to be precise, you can right click on top of any one of those red buttons and inspect it. And then somewhere on the right, you'll see the background color, which is kind of an intriguing orange-red. Might be one of those colors that incentivizes people to click. So if it is, we're going to use it. Now let's come back and let's paste in that color hex right here so you get the red from Sydeny. We can do that for strategy. Click Style, primary color, and paste, and we can do that for design. Click on the icon, click Style, primary color, and just paste in the 6-digit color hex. Alright, we're also going to need that red on our button, so let's click on the button, and first and foremost, let's center it, and let's change the text to, in caps, see some more services. Now let's click Style, and we can change the background color of the button. So it was a primary color for the icon, but it's a background color for the button. Beautiful. It looks like that button's a little bit too close for comfort to that strategy icon text, so why don't we give the button some spacing? In my case, I like doing padding, and I like going downwards, which just means if you want to space out 2 sections, you put the padding downwards from one instead of upwards from the other. It's kind of just a good practice as you build the site so you know where your padding is. Here's what I mean. Let's click on the settings for the icon boxes. Now let's click Advanced, and where it says padding, unlink it and just give it some bottom padding of 20, which means there's space on the bottom of it in between itself and the next element. 20 might not be enough, so how about 28? Perfect. We can also do that for services. Just click Services, Advanced, padding bottom of maybe 18. But if you don't unlink the values, it'll apply to every direction. So padding on the top, left, bottom, all that. We just want it on the bottom. All right, you got it. Now we're going to update the site, and let's click to the homepage and see what we made. To check out what we made, you can click on the hamburger menu in the upper left and then click View Page. All right, and so below our beautiful slider, we have a beautiful Our Services section. Looks pretty good, a lot like the demo. Of course, we might want to bring those icons down a little bit in size. And we want to get that little red border beneath the Our Services header. So let's go back to Edit with Elementor, scroll down, and let's click on the icons. All right, we're going to click Style, and then under Size, we're going to play with the size a little bit. So we just need to drag on this little bar, and it looks like somewhere around like 32 would be perfect. You can also give it a border width in this section, which can make this thinner or even thicker. All right, so we're getting pretty darn close there, and it really helps to know exactly how the design works, even though it was easier when Elementor was in Page Builder by Site Origin, because you'd just basically drop in the icon and it would look like the icon. But even though this is a little bit more work now, it'll go a lot of bit further for us in the long run, trust me. Okay, let's do the same to strategy. We're going to go to Style. We're going to make that size a cool 40, and then the border width just 1. And then for design, same thing. Style. We're going to make this size 40, and the border width 1. And you can also change the border radius if you wanted that like more like a square. Just pop in a different number, and it might become a square. All right, that's awesome. So the last thing we need in our services section is just to get the Our Services border underneath the header. All right, and I'll be honest, I haven't figured out how to get that little red border beneath the Our Services header right here. If one of you can, I would love if you let me know. I'll like give you a special gift or something if you comment that, and everyone will be really proud. But as a substitute for that, we can actually make a cool effect just by clicking on motion effects for the header and giving it an entrance animation of, how about zoom in? Super cool.